Hello everyone, welcome to Ravioli's Oven. We're learning how to make samosa. So you add your 2 cups of flour. Don't mind, I'm using half cup, that's why you see I'm adding more than 2 cups. Yeah, so use 1 sachet of onga or 1 teaspoon of salt. You add 1 tablespoon of oil. I'm using the teaspoon, that is why I'm adding 3, because 3 teaspoons is equivalent to 1 tablespoon. So this is another mixture where I used oil and salt. It's the same type of mixture. I just want to show you that the results are achievable when you can use oil and salt. So that's oil, water, and that is the salt that we're going to add. So I didn't really follow the measurements here, but I just added some oil and then added a pinch of salt, because this recipe was just 1 cup of flour. So I'm just adding some water. So you add your water little by little. Kaɗan-kaɗan za ku sa ruwan, saboda ba a son dough in yayi ruwa-ruwa. You don't want your dough to be watery. You want it to be thick. A thick dough, it won't be sticky. It won't be sticky, so you add the water little by little until you form a dough and there's no flour left. Okay, so za ku ɗan ƙaƙƙara ruwa a ciki. Ba za a sa shi yayi irin ruwan yayi yawa ba ya fara lallaƙewa, a'a. Za a sa ruwan daidai yanda zai isa ma flour ka ta haɗe. Flour ka za ta dai haɗe ne, za ka kwaɓa ta irin ta zama dough. So shi yasa kuka ga ina sa ruwan kaɗan-kaɗan, don gaskiya ba wai akwai wani particular measurement da ake bi na ruwan ba. So haka nan zan ta ƙara ruwan kaɗan-kaɗan sai ya yi forming dough. So after you've formed a dough, you separate the dough into smaller parts. You can separate the 2 cups into 6, 7 or 8 smaller balls and then dust it lightly with flour. Za ku raba shi into balls, ku yi mishi ƙwallo-ƙwallo guda 6 ko 8 haka. So each ball, you roll it into a small circle, each of the balls. Next up, you rub some oil generously. Generously add some oil to the roll, to the round circles on each side, and spread it and stack them. So you can do it like 4 layers each. It's only the top layer and the last layer that you won't add oil to, but the first, second, third, up and down, both sides, you add oil to it. And I usually do stack them in 4s because it is easier to separate. So you just pinch the sides after stacking it like this. Pinch the sides and and then you start rolling. Start rolling from the middle as you spread it. And as you're going, you try to roll it in a circle. Don't make it lose its shape. So you try to roll it and be turning it 360. You turn it, you roll. You turn it upside down, you roll it. You keep rolling. And if maybe the smaller dough, the middle dough, you stretch it. You stretch the middle dough and you keep rolling. So this is a clearer rolling video of how I try to maintain it in a good cycle. This is a clear, you see how I roll it? So that it can maintain the shape and remain a cycle. Because getting it in a cycle, you can achieve more wraps with it than when it has lost its shape or become one kind of shape. When you come to cut, you will have issues and you might have some wasted wraps. So haka za ku dinga rolling in shi saboda ya zama cycle haka. So after you've rolled it properly, so while we roll for a bit, then we check to see how thin the dough is, each layer. So we check it so that kar yayi kauri, so that it won't be too thick and it won't be too thin. So when you see that it's not too thick, you stop rolling when you see that it's not too thick. But if it's still thick, you can roll it a bit more. And then you can use a tray or a frying pan, a non-stick pan, to heat your samosa wrap. So I'm using an iron tray and I put it on the fire and I'm adding heat. So you can see that it will start changing color when it starts getting done. So you put it on low heat because you don't want it to burn and you don't want it to get dry. So you maintain it on low heat and you turn the tray and you flip the wrap upside down too, so that anywhere that is not yet done or the fire is not reaching very well, you turn it like that. And please maintain the low heat so that it won't burn or get too hot. It's really hot, so you have to be very careful not to burn your hands. And so you see it has gotten ready and you can see it's hot, but I really like to separate it while it's still hot because it's easier and faster for me. It's burning my fingers a bit, but okay, I'll just try to be careful not to get burnt. But you can see separating it is a bit easier and faster. And this is the second wrap, and I'm going to do the same thing for it as well. So this is me separating it after I turned off the fire. I turned off the fire. So be careful while separating it, please, in order not to make it tear. Just be careful. And if some part is too soft, that means it is not yet done. And you can see the whole color has changed now, and you can see how the wrap looks. So we proceed to cut it. So you cut it to the desired size that you want your wraps to be, depending on how big or how small you want your samosa wraps to be. That is how you cut it. I cut mine in a triangle shape. I stacked them to the same size of the wrap and cut them in a triangle shape. And then I used the first one that I cut to get the measurements for the next ones. Cutting for samosa and spring rolls, I do the same triangle shape, but the wraps, if I'm going to cut these wraps into 5 for spring rolls, I would only cut it into 4 because it needs to be wider. Okay, so you can see how I'm cutting it, and this one I ended up cutting it into 5, and it's just the 2 cups, and from 2 cups I got 35 samosa wraps from it. And then you can trim off the edge to make it neat. The gum paste for the samosa wrap, you just add a little bit of flour. Let's say you add 2 tablespoons of flour, so you add 2 tablespoons of water as well. So the gum paste would be a bit thick and not too watery. It will be a bit thick and not too watery, just so it can help you stick the samosa wraps with each other. So this is the meat filling. I'll give you a brief explanation of how to make the meat filling. So this is how you fold your samosa wrap. You use the rounded angle to face you. You can see how I'm making descriptions with my hand. And so you add the gum paste here. You can see the thickness of the gum paste. It's not very watery and it's not too thick, so that you can easily spread it. I couldn't find my scissors, and there was no time. I had to record this video, so I just went ahead to trim it with my hands. So you've made, this is a samosa, how to make a samosa pocket. So after making the samosa pocket, you add your filling. Depending on how big your samosa pocket is, we add 1 full spoon of beef to the pocket, and then apply the gum paste like this, and then we go ahead to fold. Please make sure when you are folding it, you don't leave any open edges. So you check to make sure all the edges are properly covered, so that oil will not seep in when you're frying. So this is how the wraps. You can use this recipe to sell your samosa wraps, or to make your own samosa wraps for personal use. So here is the procedure for folding the spring rolls. You can see I also cut it in a triangle shape, but this wrap is much wider than the other wrap that I cut for the samosa. So you fold in the sides like this and add some gum paste to make it stick. Then add the paste also like this to keep it in place. Don't add too much filling, except if your wrap is really big. And then this is how you fold it. Add some gum paste and go ahead to fold it. And kamar yadda ake naɗe tabarma, amma sai ka matse shi. So please make it tight so that your spring rolls will not open while frying. And the gum paste is needed to be thick because it also helps the samosa to quickly dry up and become more sticky. If the gum paste is watery, if it's watery, it will be opening. Your samosa wrap will be opening, your spring roll wrap will be opening. But when your gum paste is thick, it will serve its purpose.